Listen closely, because this is not random, and you were not brought here by accident. Something in you already knew that this moment was coming, even if your mind tried to ignore it, even if the noise of the world tried to drown it out. There is a reason your spirit feels restless right now, a reason your chest tightens when you think about the future, a reason your intuition has been whispering louder with each passing day. This is the hour that was written for you long before you understood what destiny meant. And now, as the clock turns toward March 24th, something unseen begins to shift. You are not just watching time pass. You are stepping into a doorway that has been preparing itself for your arrival. Do not scroll away. Do not dismiss this as coincidence. This is a summons, and if you feel it, even slightly, then you already know you were meant to hear this. And as you stand on the edge of this moment, I invite you, no, I call you, to claim it. Speak below. Declare your presence. And many who have listened say it opened their eyes to truths they had sensed all along, but never fully understood. So if that quiet inner voice is nudging you, trust it, because what happens next cannot be undone. You have tried to move on before, haven't you? Tried to convince yourself that the signs were just patterns your mind created, that the repeated nudges, the dreams, the strange sense of familiarity were nothing more than coincidence. But something kept pulling you back. Something refused to let you settle into comfort. That is because you were never meant to sleep through your own awakening. The signal has been growing stronger, not weaker. It shows up in the silence, in the moments when you think no one is watching, in the questions that refuse to leave your mind. This is not confusion. It is activation. You are being tuned to a frequency that only a few can recognize. And the reason it feels overwhelming is because you are remembering something your soul has always known. The closer you get to this hour, the louder it becomes. And now, you are no longer allowed to ignore it. There were moments when everything seemed to collapse at once, when doors closed without explanation, when people you trusted drifted away, when plans dissolved into uncertainty. You thought it was loss. You thought it was failure. But look again, chosen one. What if it was alignment? What if every disruption was not a punishment, but a recalibration? Because the version of you that is required for what is about to happen could not exist in the life you were trying to hold on to. So it had to break. It had to shift. It had to force you into unfamiliar territory so that you would begin to see yourself differently. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was random. Every fracture was intentional. And now, as the pieces come together in ways you never expected, you begin to understand. You are not being destroyed. You are being positioned. You feel it, don't you? That subtle pressure in the air, that quiet tension beneath the surface of your everyday awareness, that sense that something is approaching, something that cannot be delayed or avoided. It is not panic, it is anticipation. There is an invisible clock, and it has already begun its countdown. Not the kind you can see or measure, not something that ticks loudly or announces itself with numbers, but something deeper, something tied to divine timing itself. And this countdown is not for the world, it is for you. Because in 1 hour, something shifts. Not in a way that others will immediately recognize, not in a way that will be explained or confirmed externally, but in a way that will alter your path permanently. You may feel it as a shift in perception, a sudden clarity, a moment where something that once confused you becomes obvious. You may experience it as a decision that feels different from all the others, one that carries a quiet certainty you cannot explain. The question is not whether it will happen, because it will. The question is whether you will recognize it when it does, or allow it to pass as something ordinary. Because the most powerful moments rarely arrive with noise, they arrive with precision. You have asked yourself before, why me? Sometimes quietly, sometimes with doubt, sometimes with a heaviness that you didn't want anyone else to see. And beneath that question was something deeper, a quiet uncertainty about whether you were truly enough for what you felt pulling you forward. But listen carefully. You were never chosen because you were perfect. You were chosen because you were capable of becoming. There is something within you that cannot be taught, something that does not come from approval, validation, or external recognition. It is deeper than that. It is a sensitivity to truth, a resistance to illusion, a pull towards something meaningful even when you cannot fully explain it. You see things others overlook. You feel things others dismiss. You question what others accept without hesitation. And even when you tried to ignore it, even when you tried to shrink it or hide it, it remained. It stayed, because it was never meant to disappear. You are not here by chance. You are here because something greater recognized your capacity long before you did. And now, slowly, undeniably, you are beginning to see it too. Think back to the moments when everything became hardest, not just difficult, but heavy, overwhelming in a way that made you question your direction, your strength, even your purpose. Those moments where doubt grew louder, where distractions multiplied, where it felt like something was pulling you away from what you felt drawn toward. That was not failure. That was resistance. And resistance does not appear randomly. It intensifies when you are close to clarity, close to breakthrough, close to stepping into something that will change everything. It tests you, not to stop you, but to reveal whether you are ready to move forward without certainty. And you did. Even when you didn't realize it. Even when you felt lost, you kept moving. Even when you questioned everything, you didn't fully turn back. And that is why you are here now. Because resistance does not appear for those who are standing still. It appears for those who are moving towards something significant, something real. There is always a moment, just before transformation, just before breakthrough, just before everything aligns in a way that cannot be undone. And that moment is quiet, almost deceptively calm. It does not look dramatic. It does not feel overwhelming. And in many ways, it can feel like nothing is happening at all. But beneath that stillness, everything is shifting. Energy is repositioning. Paths are adjusting. Timelines are aligning. And you, whether you realize it or not, are standing at the center of it. This is that moment for you. Right now. The world may look the same. Your surroundings may not have changed yet, but something inside you has already crossed a threshold. You are not the same person you were yesterday. And after this hour passes, you will not be able to return to who you were before. Pay attention to what you feel, not just what you see, because energy always moves first and reality follows. And right now, the energy around you is shifting in ways that are subtle but undeniable if you are aware enough to notice. Conversations feel different. Silence feels deeper. Even your thoughts begin to move in new directions, as if something is guiding them. This is not random. This is alignment in motion. The universe does not move loudly. It moves precisely. And everything around you, from the people you encounter, to the timing of events, to the way you respond internally, is being adjusted to match the version of you that is emerging. You are no longer chasing change. You are becoming the point around which change organizes itself. You are not behind. You were never late. You are exactly where you need to be, even if it didn't feel like it before, even if there were moments when you compared yourself to others or questioned your progress. You did not miss anything. Every delay had purpose, every detour had direction, every pause had meaning. You were being prepared, refined, strengthened in ways that could not have happened if everything had moved quickly or easily. Nothing was wasted. Not your pain, not your confusion, not your waiting. It all shaped you into the person who could stand here now, ready for what is unfolding. And now, the truth becomes clear. You were never off track. You were always being guided. There are moments in life that repeat, opportunities that return, paths that circle back and give you another chance to choose. But this is not one of them. This is a doorway that opens once, not because it is limited, but because it is precise. It appears at a specific alignment of time, energy, and readiness, and that alignment is happening now. You are standing in front of it. You can feel it, even if you cannot fully see it. Something within you knows this moment carries weight. The question is not whether you are ready, because you are. The question is whether you will recognize the door when it opens, and whether you will step through without hesitation. Because once you do, everything begins to change. There is a space you are standing in right now that cannot be seen with the eyes, only felt with the soul. It is the threshold, the invisible line between your past identity and the version of you that is beginning to emerge. And this space is uncomfortable, isn't it? It feels uncertain, like standing in a doorway between two worlds, unable to fully return to what you once were, but not yet fully anchored in what you are becoming. This is not confusion. This is transformation in motion. You are shedding layers that no longer resonate, beliefs that once defined you but now feel foreign. And even though part of you wants clarity, wants certainty, wants to know exactly what lies ahead, this moment requires something deeper. It requires trust, because what you are stepping into cannot be understood from where you used to stand. It must be experienced. And as this hour approaches, the threshold begins to dissolve, not because it was never real, but because you are finally ready to cross it. You may feel a strange quiet right now, as if something has paused, as if the world is holding its breath. Do not mistake this silence for absence. This is preparation. This is the universe aligning unseen pieces, adjusting timelines, orchestrating details that your conscious mind cannot yet perceive. Silence is where transformation gathers its strength. It is where intention sharpens, where energy concentrates before it moves. And you, chosen one, are standing in the center of that silence. It may feel like nothing is happening, but everything is happening beneath the surface. The stillness is not here to confuse you. It is here to anchor you, to steady you, to prepare your spirit for the magnitude of what is about to unfold. Because once the shift begins, it will not ask for your permission. It will meet your readiness. You have been carrying things that were never yours to keep. Expectations that did not belong to your soul. Responsibilities that drained your energy. Pain that lingered far longer than it should have. And for a long time, you believed that strength meant holding on to it all, that endurance meant never letting go. But now, something within you is loosening its grip. You can feel it. The weight is beginning to lift. Not all at once, but enough for you to notice the difference. Enough for you to breathe a little deeper. And as this hour approaches, you will be asked to release what remains, not because you failed to carry it, but because you were never meant to carry it into what comes next. What is waiting for you cannot coexist with what you have outgrown. Think back to the patterns, the coincidences that felt too precise to ignore. The repeated numbers, the unexpected encounters, the words you heard at exactly the right moment. You questioned them. You tried to rationalize them, but deep down, you felt it. There was something more. And you were right. None of it was random. Every sign was a message, every moment a signal guiding you toward this exact point in time. You were being led, even when you didn't realize it. Protected, even when you felt alone. And now, as the pieces begin to connect, you start to see the design behind what once felt like chaos. The path was never broken. It was simply unfolding in a language you were learning to understand. You might expect something dramatic, something loud, something undeniable when your destiny shifts. But that is not how it works. The most powerful changes often arrive quietly. A thought that feels different, a decision that feels clear, a moment that seems small but carries a weight you cannot explain. And then, everything begins to move. This hour will not announce itself with noise. It will arrive like a whisper that echoes through your entire being. And if you are paying attention, if you are present, you will feel it the moment it happens. You will know. Not because someone told you, but because something inside you will recognize it instantly. There is a part of you that still hesitates, a voice that questions whether you are truly ready, whether you are truly capable of stepping into what is unfolding. That voice served a purpose once. It kept you cautious. It kept you grounded. But it cannot come with you into this next phase. Because what is ahead requires clarity, not hesitation, alignment, not doubt. And so, as this hour approaches, that voice begins to fade. Not because it is being silenced, but because it is no longer needed. You are not the same person who once relied on it. You have grown beyond it. And now, you must trust that growth. Have you noticed it? That subtle pull, that quiet urge to move in a direction you cannot fully explain. It does not shout. It does not demand. It simply exists, persistent and undeniable. That is not curiosity. That is your future calling you forward. And the closer you get to this hour, the stronger it becomes. It is not trying to force you. It is inviting you, guiding you, showing you where you are meant to go without revealing everything at once. Because if you saw it all now, you might hesitate. But if you follow the pull, step by step, you will arrive exactly where you need to be. This is not just another day. You can feel that, even if you cannot explain why. March 24th carries a frequency that aligns with something deeper, something beyond ordinary time. It is a convergence point, a moment where timelines intersect, where choices carry greater weight, where shifts happen faster and with greater impact. And you, chosen one, are aligned with this moment in a way that is not accidental. You were meant to be here, in this exact state of awareness, at this exact time, because what unfolds on this day is directly connected to the path your soul has been preparing for. When the shift begins, it may not look the way you expect. It may come disguised as an opportunity, a conversation, a decision that seems ordinary on the surface. But do not be fooled. This moment will test whether you are truly present, whether you are truly listening to your intuition. Because the door will open, but it will not force you through. You must recognize it. You must choose it. And that choice will define everything that follows. Out of all the moments, all the timelines, all the possibilities, you are here. Not by chance, not by accident, but by design. You were never meant to miss this. Even when you felt lost, even when you doubted your path, something was guiding you back to this exact point. And now, as the hour draws closer, that truth becomes undeniable. You are not just witnessing something important. You are part of it. There are moments in life that appear small on the surface, yet hold the weight of entire lifetimes beneath them. This is one of those moments. What unfolds within this hour will not demand a grand gesture or a dramatic declaration. It will ask for a decision, quiet, precise, almost unnoticeable to anyone else. But to you, it will feel like stepping through an invisible portal. Because the truth is, destiny does not always roar. Sometimes it whispers and waits to see if you will respond. And this decision, the one that is approaching you now, will not be forced upon you. It will present itself gently, almost as if it is giving you a choice. But understand this, it is not just a choice. It is a gateway, and once you step through, the path behind you will begin to dissolve, not out of loss, but because it is no longer aligned with who you are becoming. Have you ever felt something familiar before it even happened? A strange recognition of a moment you are just now stepping into. That is not imagination. That is an echo. Your future has already experienced what you are about to encounter, and it is reaching back through time, sending you signals, preparing you. That sense of déjà vu, that quiet certainty that something is about to shift. It is your future self, guiding you, aligning you, reminding you that you are on the right path. And as this hour approaches, that echo becomes louder. You may not understand every detail, but you will feel the truth of it. And that feeling is enough. There was a moment, not long ago, when you felt like you couldn't take another step, when everything within you felt stretched, exhausted, uncertain of what to do next. You may have thought that was your lowest point, your breaking point. But look again. That moment was not the end. It was the turning point. Because something shifted within you when you reached that edge. Something awakened. A strength you didn't know you had. A clarity that only emerges when everything else falls away. And that moment brought you here, to this hour, to this alignment. You didn't break, you transformed. There were times when you asked for clarity, for direction, for something to change. Maybe you spoke it out loud. Maybe you whispered it in silence. Maybe you felt it so deeply that words were not even necessary. And now, that alignment is here, but it does not always arrive the way you expect. It does not always look comfortable or familiar. Sometimes it requires you to step into something unknown, to trust what you feel more than what you see. And that is where you are now. The answer you asked for is unfolding, not as something you receive, but as something you step into. There is a sensation rising within you that you may recognize as fear. But pause for a moment and look deeper. Is it truly fear, or is it the unfamiliar energy of expansion? Because when you step beyond what you have known, your mind searches for something to label it, and often it chooses fear. But this is not danger. This is growth. This is your awareness stretching beyond its previous limits. And yes, it feels intense. Yes, it feels uncertain. But that does not mean you should retreat. It means you are moving exactly where you are meant to go. You have noticed it, haven't you? The way certain connections have shifted. The way some people no longer resonate the way they once did. The distance that has quietly formed, even without conflict or explanation. And part of you may have questioned it, wondered if you did something wrong. But listen closely. You did not lose them. You outgrew the version of yourself that matched them. And that is not a failure. It is evolution. Not everyone is meant to walk with you into every chapter. Some were only meant to meet you at a certain level, to teach you something, to reflect something back to you. And now, as you rise into this next phase, the space around you begins to clear, not to leave you alone, but to make room for what is truly aligned. There is something different about you now, even if others cannot fully explain it. The way you think, the way you respond, the way you carry yourself, it has shifted. And that shift is not just internal. It is magnetic. It begins to influence your environment, your opportunities, your experiences. You are no longer chasing alignment. You are becoming it. And as this hour unfolds, you will begin to notice how things start to respond to you differently. Doors that once felt closed begin to open. Paths that once seemed blocked begin to clear. Not because the world changed, but because you did. There is a powerful truth that few understand. Destiny is not something that finds you blindly. It responds to your awareness. The moment you have been waiting for will not fully reveal itself until you recognize who you are within it. And that is why this hour matters so deeply. Because it is not just about what happens externally. It is about what you realize internally. The moment will recognize you when you recognize yourself. And that recognition is happening now, piece by piece, layer by layer, as everything you once questioned begins to make sense. You may want to know what comes next. You may feel the urge to understand every detail, to map out every step, to see the entire path before you move forward. But that is not how this works. The path ahead is not meant to be fully visible. Not yet. Because clarity is not given all at once. It is revealed as you move. And if you wait for complete certainty, you will miss the moment entirely. This hour does not require you to know everything. It requires you to trust what you already feel. You are closer now than you have ever been. The energy is building. The alignment is locking into place. And something within you knows this is it. The final moments before everything begins to shift. You may not see it yet. You may not fully understand it, but you feel it. And that feeling is your confirmation. Stay present, stay aware, because what happens next will mark the beginning of a completely new chapter. And now, it happens, not with noise, not with spectacle, but with a shift so precise that it feels like something inside you has clicked into place. A realization, a decision, a quiet knowing that settles deeper than thought. This is the moment, the one that was approaching, the one your spirit has been preparing for. It does not ask for permission, it meets your readiness. And suddenly, what once felt uncertain begins to feel clear, not because every answer has appeared, but because you no longer need them to move forward. You feel anchored, present, certain in a way that does not depend on external validation. This is alignment, and you have stepped into it. There are paths that existed before this moment that you are no longer attached to. Possibilities that once seemed likely now feel distant, almost irrelevant. That is because your timeline has shifted, not in a way that the world can measure, but in a way that your life will begin to reflect. Things that once took effort begin to flow. Obstacles that once delayed you begin to dissolve. And opportunities, unexpected, perfectly timed, begin to appear. This is not coincidence. This is the result of alignment. You have moved into a frequency where what is meant for you can finally meet you without resistance. You may have once looked outward for signs, for reassurance, for someone or something to tell you that you were on the right path. But now, you no longer need that, because the confirmation you were waiting for has revealed itself within you. It is not loud, it is not overwhelming, it is steady, grounded, certain. A quiet voice that does not argue or question, it simply knows, and that knowing becomes your guide. It becomes the foundation you move from, the clarity you trust, the truth you carry forward. You are no longer searching, you are remembering. There is a realization that comes with this shift, one that may feel bittersweet at first. The life you once knew, the patterns, the mindset, the version of you that existed before this moment cannot return, not because it was wrong, but because it is no longer aligned with who you are now. You have crossed something invisible, but irreversible, and while part of you may feel the weight of leaving that behind, a deeper part of you feels the expansion, the relief, the truth. You are not losing anything real. You are releasing what has already completed its purpose. Watch closely now. Pay attention not just to the big moments, but to the subtle shifts, because your future has already begun to respond. It may show up in a conversation that feels perfectly timed, an idea that arrives with clarity, an opportunity that seems to appear out of nowhere. These are not random events. These are responses, signals that you have entered a new phase of alignment. And the more you trust it, the more it unfolds. The more you move with it, the more it reveals. This is how transformation works. Not all at once, but in precise, undeniable moments that build upon each other. For so long, you may have felt like you were waiting to become something more. Waiting for clarity, waiting for readiness, waiting for the right moment. But now, you see the truth. You were not waiting to become that version. You were becoming it all along. Every challenge, every shift, every moment of uncertainty was shaping you into exactly who you needed to be for this hour. And now, standing here, you realize you are already that person. The strength you were searching for is within you. The clarity you were hoping for is already present. You did not arrive here by chance. You built yourself into this moment. From this point forward, your energy becomes your compass. Not fear, not doubt, not external pressure, but the frequency you hold within you. When something aligns, you will feel it instantly. When something does not, you will recognize it just as clearly. And this awareness will guide you in ways that logic alone never could. Trust it, honor it, because it is not random. It is the result of everything you have experienced, everything you have learned, everything you have become. Your energy is no longer reacting. It is leading. Do not mistake this moment for the destination. This is not the end of your journey. This is the beginning of a new chapter, one that has been waiting for you to reach this exact point of awareness. There is more unfolding, more alignment, more expansion, that you have not yet seen. But now, you are moving within it consciously, no longer questioning your path, but walking it with intention. And as you continue forward, you will begin to understand just how much was written for you long before you realized it. There are things happening right now that you cannot see, pieces being arranged, opportunities forming, connections aligning, and all of it is moving in response to the shift you have just made. The universe does not wait, it responds. And because you stepped into alignment, everything that is meant for you begins to move toward you with equal precision. You are not chasing anything anymore. What is yours is already on its way. And now, pause. Breathe this in. Recognize what has just occurred, even if you cannot fully explain it. Because this moment matters. This shift matters. You matter. Something inside you has awakened. Not because of these words, but because they activated what was already within you. And this is only the beginning. But listen carefully, chosen one, because this next part is not separate from your path. It is an extension of it. There are teachings, frequencies, and understandings that cannot be fully spoken in a single moment like this. They must be absorbed, repeated, lived with. And that is why something has been placed in your path at this exact time. The audiobook, How to Awaken the Rich Mind Within You, is not just information. It is a continuation of this transmission. It is designed to reprogram the way you think, the way you see opportunity, the way you align with abundance, not just materially, but energetically, spiritually, and mentally. If you felt something shift within you today, this is where you deepen it. You will find it waiting for you in the description and in the first pinned comment, not as a product, but as a tool placed along your path for a reason. Trust what led you here. And if this message resonated within your soul, if something in you recognized the truth of what was spoken, then seal it. Declare it below. Let the universe witness your readiness. Subscribe, not out of habit, but as a vow to continue walking this path consciously, intentionally, powerfully. And now, step forward, because your destiny has already begun to change.